Hey there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back in an episode of Cheap Shots. This series helps you to save money on the miniatures wargaming hobby. But on today's episode, what we're going to do is talk about the Kasrkin, which is a unit of Imperial Guardsman or Astra Militarum Elite Special Forces operator from games of Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. So as you can see right here, this is the actual Kasrkin Kill Team box that you can actually purchase individually or from one of the Gallo Dark box sets that came out earlier. Now, as I said in this series of Cheap Shots, the ideal situation is that a player can take the same set of box set of miniatures and use them from different gaming systems. And if you can do that, that's not only is it a fun way to actually play multiple games, but at the same time, you can also save yourself a ton of money by doing so as well. And so today we're going through the different Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team box sets and talk about exactly how you can use those in games specifically of Necromunda. We're going to talk about exactly how these guys would fit into the narrative of the Necromunda setting. We're also going to give you a gang list at 2,000 points, so that way you could also fill this in your campaigns in Necromunda. At the same time, provide a gang overview by showing you exactly how you use this gang in combat on the tabletop, so that way you dominate in the Underhive. So with that being said, let's go and talk about using Astra Militarum Kasrkin from Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team in your games of Necromunda. Alright, so let's talk about how you can use the Kasrkin box set from Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team in your games of Necromunda and narratively how it would fit inside of the campaign setting. Now, unfortunately, a lot of players have been asking me recently, like, how could they narratively explain why these different kill teams are involved in the Necromunda universe? And the best thing about these guys, especially when it comes to any Imperial Guardsman unit that you want to use in your campaign, everyone tends to forget that Necromunda is also an Imperial planet. It's not just a giant hive city where you have gangs fighting out in the Underhive. It actually serves as an important manufacturing hub for the Imperium at large in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. And just like any other major Imperial planet, it also has planetary defense forces in the form of Imperial Guardsmen who actually protect the planet from outside invasions. After all, the first line of defense for any Imperial planet is the Imperial Guard, and Necromunda is no different. In fact, Necromunda Imperial Guard units are known for wearing gray or brown uniforms with black armor plating, and you can easily paint these Kasrkin guys similar to look like that as well. The way you can fit these guys narratively is that maybe Lord Helmar's kind of tired of what's going on, so he's actually sending his planetary defense forces to do some police action. You could say that these guys are deserters from the Necromundan planetary defense forces and they decide to kind of go on their own, or maybe they're a military unit that's gone rogue and try to collect bounties on different people so that way they can enrich themselves as well. There's a million different ways that you could explain how these guys could actually fit in your campaign setting as well. Now, I know there's a lot of naysayers out there who will piss and moan about the fact that we're using 40,000 Kill Team miniatures in games of Necromunda, and for those guys who want to complain about this stuff, get a life, y'all, okay? It's Necromunda. It's such a wild and crazy setting that you could pretty much justify anything being down there and actually being used in the games. So if you're one of those kind of guys who are a naysayer, well, this video is not for you, so go away. This is for the people who want to save money and be able to use the same set of box set of miniatures for different gaming systems. So for those of you guys who are into using the Kasrkin for your games of Necromunda, let's go ahead and talk about exactly what the gang list will look like using this box set and how you could dominate in the Underhive. Alright, so let's go and talk about exactly what your roster is going to look like for you to use your box set of Kasrkin for Kill Team for your games of Necromunda. So as you can see right here, we have the picture of the actual box set of miniatures, and we also have the roster over here on the right hand side, so that way you can see exactly how each of these guys will be actually used in your tabletop. So first of all, your Kasrkin is going to be a Necromundan Planetary Defense Forces gang. What you're going to use is a Venator Bounty Hunter gang in order to do this. And we're using Aranthian Succession rules, and the reason why is because you can play in Aranthian Succession with 2,000 credits to build your gang, so we're going to assume that you're going to want to do that for this one. You could of course do 1,000 credit gang if you want to as well. You just have to do some modification to your list. Now, the primary skills I would suggest for using a Venator Bounty Hunter gang, because when you create a Venator Bounty Hunter gang, you get to choose your 2 primary and 2 secondary sources. Primary and secondary skills. Your first set of primary skills will be shooting as well as ferocity, because look at the way these guys are kitted out. They're really kitted out to kill with shooting, and at the same time you're going to give them ferocity, give them that ability to stay in the fight, to stick with it, to not be afraid. These guys are supposed to be ex-special forces guys, so I think it's a good combination as well. Now, your secondary skills, of course, will be combat as well as cunning. So let's talk about this list will consist of. So first of all, your Kasrkin Sergeant, which is this guy over here, is going to be your guy's hunt leader. He's going to cost you 315 credits. You're going to give him the versatile stat line, which is I believe the first stat line of the 4 you can choose from the Venator lineup. So you'll take versatile stats to give this person armor undersuit for 25 credits, as well as mesh armor 15 to give them a 4-up armor save. You're also giving them a last gun for that way they can do long range shooting, and you give this person a plasma pistol as well as a power sword for 50 credits apiece, like this guy is equipped on this photo right over here. You also give this guy a respirator as well as photo goggles as well as commanding presence. Now what's going to happen is this: you're going to have a really good close combat ability, and you're going to have a pretty decent shooting attacks. But what you really want to remember when it comes to all these guys, that the entire team will be equipped with respirators as well as photo goggles. The reason why is because I want to make sure that when you use this list, they're going to be able to take on all comers, and they're going to be able to fight in low light situations. They could also breathe in toxic environmental effects as well. They're also got some pretty decent armor saves as well, and some pretty decent shooting to reflect the fact these guys are kind of like an elite military unit that's been sent down to Underhive to take care of problems. Now to give this guy commanding presence, so that way he has larger group activations, so that way you can activate 3 or more fighters per activation. Now you're going to have 3 gunners in this one. You have the Kasrkin gunner number 1, 2, and 3. These are going to be your 3 different members of your gang. First of all, Kasrkin gunner number 1 is going to be one of your hunt champions. It's going to cost you 285 credits as well. It could be any one of these 3 guys over here that could be that person for that weapon. Now once again, they're going to have versatile stat line as well as armor undersuit as well as mesh armor for that 4-up armor save. They're going to have a plasma gun for obvious reasons, because plasma guns are the pwn. You give this guy a last pistol for a backup weapon as well as respirator and photo goggles as well as the fast shot ability. The fast shot ability is going to pair well with the plasma gun, so that way they can fire twice in a phase. The respirator, so that way they don't have to worry about toxin attacks or gas attacks. At the same time, you also have photo goggles, so that way they can shoot in the dark as well. So like I said, spec op operations unit, these guys are going to dominate. Kasrkin gunner number 2 is going to be one of these guys over here. He's going to be your hunt champion as well. He's going to cost 325 credits for this guy as well. This guy's got versatile stat line as well as an armor undersuit and mesh armor for that 4-up armor save. And they're going to be packing a flamer just like this guy here, so that way this guy can go in close and cause all kinds of problems. You give this guy a last pistol as well as a backup weapon as well as respirator and photo goggles, so that way they can see in the dark and breathe in case of a tox attack happens. And they also have fast shot, because that way they can open twice with that flamer and make him super destructive as well. If you want to as well, I highly suggest also pairing this guy with a running gun as well for hip shooting, so that way he can move and then still shoot his flamer afterwards, moving twice and open fire with that flamer. Now granted, when you move and shoot like that with gun and run, you do lose points to your ballista skill, but since it's a template weapon anyways, you don't have to be all that accurate. Now Kasrkin gunner number 3 is going to be your hunter specialist in your gang. This guy's going to cost you 215 credits, represented by this guy here with the grenade launcher. This fighter's going to have versatile stat lines as well, with armor undersuit mesh armor for that 4-up armor save. You're going to give this person a grenade launcher with frag and crack grenades, so that way they can dominate with grenade launchers. A last pistol for a backup weapon as well as a respirator and photo goggles, so that way they can also breathe in toxin areas as well as have that ability to shoot in the dark. And this could be your gang specialist as well. Now after that, of course, you're going to have several other troopers who are going to be also included in this one as well. Kasrkin troopers number 1 as well as Kasrkin demo trooper, which is basically, I would say this guy back here, maybe this guy right here. These guys are going to be equipped exactly the same at 160 credits apiece. Both will have versatile stats, both will have mesh armor with las guns and hotshot power packs to give them that 4-up strength on their shooting attacks with las gun as well as -1 armor penetrate AP. They also have a last pistol for a backup weapon as well as close combat as well as respirators, so that way they can survive gas attacks, and photo goggles, so that way they can shoot in the dark as well. Now your Vox Trooper, which is this guy back here with a little radar dish on his back, he's going to be equipped exactly the same at 160 credits as well. Your Recon Trooper, which I imagine is this guy over here, with this guy looking kind of cool with a little handheld device. That's also going to be another one of your hunters at 160 credits, equipped exactly the same way. Versatile stats, mesh armor, last gun hotshot power packs, last pistols, respirator, and photo goggles. So these guys are going to be equipped relatively the same as well, so that way they get that strength, 4-up strength in their attacks, and so that way they can operate into all kind of environments as well. And then of course you'll have your Kasrkin sharpshooter, is also to cost you 160 credits as well, equipped exactly the same, this guy which right here, with mesh armor, last gun with hotshot power packs, as well as last pistol for backup weapon. They also have respirator as well as photo goggles as well. Now your medic, which is one of your additional fighters here, which I think is this guy back here, maybe this guy here. That guy could also be used as your rogue doc for 50 credits, so that way they can patch up your soldiers and your fighters as the game campaign continues, or you can use this guy as another miniature you want to use later on as the campaign develops. It's entirely up to you how you want to do so. Now when it comes to your gang overview, you're basically divide up your gang into 2 fire teams. You have one assault fire team, which consists of your Kasrkin sergeant, gunner number 2, trooper, as well as demo trooper and vox trooper, and then your support fire team, which consists of gunner number 1 and 3, as well as your recon trooper, as well as your sharpshooter. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick little break real quick and talk about exactly how you use this gang on the tabletop with the loadout that we're recommending. Alright, so let's go on and talk about the gang overview real quick. So as you can see, we have a little strip map over here on the right hand side for your Kasrkin kill team. As you can see, we also have our two fire teams. Your support fire team will consist of your sergeant as well as one of your guys as gunner number 2. It's also going to consist of your demo trooper, your vox trooper, as well as your normal trooper as well, which are these letters here. Then you also have your assault fire team, which is led by your gunner number 1 as well as gunner number 3, as well as your recon trooper and your sharpshooter as well. Now, most of the members of this gang are equipped exactly the same with respirators as well as photo goggles. So any kind of environmental effects they'll be running into when they go on the tabletop, they're gonna all be perfectly fine. And almost every member of your gang has strength 4 weapons in terms of the hotshot last gun. Not only does it have a strength 4 attack, but also has -1 AP as well. Yes, it does have an ammo 4 ammo roll, but at the same time though, that's not a very difficult ammo roll to succeed. So these guys are actually going to be quite good. Now, once again, you're going to be using your fix and flanking tactic that we've been using for the entirety of this video series, talking about how you support your enemies. So first of all, you're going to have your support fire team. These guys are going to hang back for the most part. What they're going to do is they're going to open fire directly at your opponent using long range fire in order to do so. You got guys opening fire with grenade launchers for your gunner number gunner who's armed with the grenade launcher. You're also going to have guys open fire with your plasma gun as well. The larger group activation from the sergeant will be able to activate these other fighters who'll be able to open fire with their hotshot last guns and opening at your enemy with long range shooting while this is happening with your last guns. Now, while your enemy is being suppressed this way, your assault fire team is going to move up along a flank, either to the right hand side or the left hand side, whatever the situation may be on the tabletop. Your assault fire team is literally going to go for the far flank on this one. It's pretty much how it's going to work for these guys. Let me go ahead and just go ahead and turn this completely sideways so that way you guys can see what I'm talking about. So your assault fire team will also be completely on the flank that way, on the extreme flank. And what's going to happen is this: your gunner number 1 is going to take point, and the reason why is because this guy's got flaming attacks with his flamer. He's going to open up with his flamer. At the same time, you also have gunner number 3 as well as the rest of your guys moving up forward too, and also putting a field of base of fire directly on the flank. So let's go move these guys real quick. So what's going to happen as well is that because these guys have longer range shooting with their last guns as well as their flamer, they can also do some pretty good shooting as well, and they could also act as a secondary support team if you need to. So that way you can get your enemy stuck in a crossfire. Hopefully the idea is supposed to be that your enemy gets destroyed that way, so those guys are now gone. I'm going to delete these arrows. And once of course that is done with, the assault fire team then moves up forward and then assaults across the objective directly towards your other enemy and then take him out in a crossfire as well. Now, the nice thing about this particular gang is because of its flexibilities, because of the similar loadouts that both your support fire team as well as your assault fire team has, they can easily switch out roles depending on whatever kind of situation that you might run into. So for example, if you think that you're going to be trying to flank them with your assault fire team, but it might not work out, and the reason why that might not work out is because maybe your enemy is putting up a stauncher defense than it has to be, then they actually become a support fire team instead, laying suppression, and then your support fire team can then move up forward and take out enemies that way. Either way, you are golden because of the firepower that you have on both sides as well. My recommendation is, as your gang develops, purchase frag grenades for all of your normal troopers, just your normal hunters, so that way they can throw frag grenades as well. Also get better weapon sights like telescopic sights or mono sights for your weapons, so that way they can be even deadlier and be more accurate as well. Keep things really simple with this gang, because the reason why is because the way they're outfitted, it matches them kind of militarily speaking as well, and this is the kind of action you want to use for your gang when it comes to playing the Kasrkin on the tabletop. And that pretty much makes up the gang review on this one. So there you guys have it. That's how you guys can actually use a box set of Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Kasrkin in your games of Warhammer 40,000 or in games of Necromunda as well. Other games you can use a Kasrkin for are other kind of skirmishing games that are out there that are miniatures agnostic, that has kind of a sci-fi or even a weird modern day setting. For example, Snarling Badger Studios' latest game, Adjusted 13, this would actually be a perfect box set of miniatures to use for that game if you want to play that as well. There's all types of gaming systems that you could use this for, and if you could use one set of box set of miniatures for multiple gaming systems, then you are winning at playing the miniature wargaming hobby and staying cheap at exactly the same time. And like I said before, that's the whole objective of this channel. It's the whole objective of these cheap shot videos, and hopefully this will help you in order to achieve that objective in your future wargaming needs. So that's good to do for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.